Question 4. The perfection of God in 3 articles. Having considered the divine simplicity, we treat next of God's perfection. Now, because everything insofar as it is perfect is called good, we shall speak first of the divine perfection, secondly of the divine goodness. Concerning the first, there are 3 points of inquiry. 1. Whether God is perfect. 2. Whether God is perfect universally, as having in himself the perfections of all things. 3. Whether creatures can be said to be like God. Article 1. Whether God is perfect. We proceed thus to the first article. It seems that to be perfect does not belong to God. Objection 1. For we say a thing is perfect if it is completely made, but it does not befit God to be made, therefore he is not perfect. Objection 2. Further, God is the first beginning of things, but the beginnings of things seem to be imperfect, as seed is the beginning of animal and vegetable life, therefore God is imperfect. Objection 3. Further, as shown above, question 3, article 4, God's essence is being itself, but being itself seems most imperfect, since it is most general and receptive of all addition. Therefore, God is imperfect. On the contrary, it is written, "Be you perfect, also as your heavenly Father is perfect." Matthew chapter 5, verse 48. I answer that, as the philosopher relates, some ancient philosophers, namely the Pythagoreans and Leucippus, did not attribute best and most perfect to the first principle. The reason was that the ancient philosophers considered only a material principle, and a first material principle is most imperfect. For since matter as such as in potency, the first material principle must be potential in the highest degree, and thus most imperfect. Now God is the first principle, not material, but in the order of efficient cause, which must be most perfect. For just as matter as such is in potency and agent, as such is in act, hence the first active principle must be most actual, and therefore most perfect. For a thing is said to be perfect according as it is in act, because we call the perfect which lacks nothing of the mode of its perfection. Reply to objection 1. As Gregory says, Moral, volume 36, through our lips can only stammer, yet we chant the high things of God. End quote. For that which is not made is improperly called perfect. Nevertheless, because created things are then called perfect, when from potency they are brought into act. This word perfect signifies whatever is not wanting in act, whether this be by way of perfection or not. Reply to objection 2. The material principle, which with us is found to be imperfect, cannot be absolutely first, but must be preceded by something perfect. For seed, though it is the principle of animal life reproduced through seed, has previous to it the animal or plant from which it came, because previous to that which is in potency must be that which is in act, since a being in potency can only be reduced to act by some being in act. Reply to Objection 3. Being itself is the most perfect of all things, for it is compared to all things as act. For nothing has actuality except so far as it exists. Hence, being itself is the actuality of all things, even of forms themselves. Therefore, it is not compared to other things as the receiver is to the received, but rather as the received to the receiver. When therefore I speak of the being of man, or horse, or anything else, being itself is considered as formal and as something received, and not as that to which being belongs.